Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show today. Although this is not like ultra serious, there's some really serious shit that's going out there. I do kind of think it needs to be addressed. So we'll do that today. And I'm talking about what I saw on Secular Talk pretty recently. But first, maybe a little bit of music to start everything off, and then we will get on with the show. Once again, welcome back to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. And here we go. All righty. And we're going to start right now. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am Willie Bragg, your humble host who loves to talk about politics. But today we're going to just delve into a little bit of the online leftist gossip sphere that many of us on the online left likes to participate in. It's just the things that we like to do, whether we want to admit it or not. We like talking about this sort of thing. And so I want to discuss secular talk. Kyle Kulinski decided to do a little, shall I say, throwback or tiptoeing down memory's lane. And I have some words to say about that momentarily. So let me get everything set up over here, and I will comment shortly thereafter. Give me a moment. I need to go set up the speed because we're pressed for time. Okay, we'll do that. 1.25 would Cal say.
All right, so we got an old school interview here. Cenk Uygur and Alex Jones. This is from years and years ago. Probably had to be around 2014 because it's when the Young Turks are on current TV. So let's watch this and break it down. Now, I tried to find, there was one time when Cenk actually went on Alex Jones' show, and it was an even longer conversation. And so I tried to find that. I couldn't find it because, of course, Alex Jones has been like wiped off YouTube. At least his show has been wiped off. And I had no luck trying to find, even looking outside of YouTube, I had no luck trying to find that old school interview. So I found this one. Apparently they talk about guns, conspiracies, and mental health. Let's take a look at what we got.
Actually, you should go on BitChute. You can find lots of Alex Jones there. There's a lot of right-wing kooky shit you can find on BitChute. Believe it or not, there is a treasure mine of right-wing shit you can find on BitChute. I will put down the link after this video this video is over. So let's go back to work.
React. Now, you might have been seeing a lot of Alex Jones lately. He was the excited guest on Piers Morgan talking about gun control and some conspiracy theories. Well, he's going to join us now. He's, of course, the star of the Alex Jones Show. It is nationally syndicated through a lot of the radio stations in this country. And Infowars.com. It's a very popular website that he's involved with as well. Alex, thanks for joining us on the Young Turks.
It's good to be here. I've been watching the show for years.
All right, great. And
wow. Already surprising. They're being very cordial with each other, very nice to each other. I mean, imagine in 2022, now looking back at this, it's like, whoa. If you didn't see this with your own two eyes, you wouldn't believe it was possible.
Look, I'm hoping we have a productive conversation in the time limit that we have, go back and forth a little bit. So let me start with the first question. You've got a lot of theories. I want to ask you about gun control. We're going to get to that in a second. That's why you've been in the news. But you have a lot of theories as to what's going on. I can't keep up with all the conspiracy theories. Now, and I don't say that dismissively because some of them are true. Belva Falcon is true, of course. I kid around about Operation Gladio, but that was something the government has admitted that they did in the past, etc. But is there an overarching theme to all these conspiracy theories? What do you think is happening in the world?
It's not my opinion. There are hundreds of books written by the top technocrats in the last 60 or 70 years saying they wanted to design a global, technocratic, scientific dictatorship because the general public are a bunch of animals and we need to be dumbed down, corralled, and then finally phased out. And Bill Joy, back 12 years ago, wrote for Wired Magazine that the future doesn't need us and talked about going to a tech conference with other billionaires where they discussed, do we keep humans around and entertain them, or do we just go ahead and get rid of the majority of the population? And he concluded that the majority of them wanted to get rid of the general population. And so he was writing this article warning people, saying, hey, there's discussions about whether we're just going to kill all of you. And the public said, okay, go ahead and kill us, because they just can't.
Wait, what? I'm pretty sure the public didn't say that. Never mind. I'm not going to take issue with the other things he said, even though I could. But I'm pretty sure the public was not, yeah, go ahead, kill us. Genocide us, bro.
Imagine that the establishment is this evil. Look, we're becoming an authoritarian country. We're losing our liberties. The NDAA, the warrantless wiretapping, the GMO, all of it. We're entering a dystopic nightmare, and I yell and scream.
I don't know how GMOs fit into that. Look, I would agree that in many ways we are authoritarian. The drug war is super authoritarian. You can ruin somebody's life and lock them up if they, decide to change their consciousness slightly by taking a substance, even if they're a free adult. I do think the NSA illegally spying on everybody and taking away their Fourth Amendment protections, I do think that that's authoritarian. Look, I think you can make a case that the hyper-militarization of the police is authoritarian. So, torture, Guantanamo Bay, no habeas corpus, no due process, all of that is authoritarian. I don't know why he threw GMOs in there. So that's weird.
Try to get people out of their trance. That's why I do that on purpose, is to get people out of the trance they're under.
Now, Alex, when you are concerned about government and its reach into our private lives and a violation of our rights like the NDAA, et cetera, I'm just as concerned. So, I hear you on that completely. But when you start talking about this global conspiracy, you obviously lose me, right? And it doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong, but I think to a lot of people it's going to seem a little unbelievable. So flesh it out for me, including to me, honestly. It seems unbelievable to me. So who is it that wants to do this dystopia? Who are these puppet masters or whoever they are, and how many of them are there, and why do they want to kill us? So I don't get that part.
Well, at the time I interviewed him, he was the head of the Kissinger group, Rothkopf. He wrote Superclass about 5 years ago. You should interview him.
Rothschilds, you know what it means when you hear Rothschilds. We don't need to go any further. But, well, yeah, okay. Well, we need visual aid we need visual aid to kind of keep everything in perspective. So everything connects. So let me just put it that way. Okay, let's start with this. Basically, that was a time when, like he said, that was around the year 2014. And I'm going to tell you, I first heard of the Young Turks 2007, 2008. I heard of Alex Jones around 2007, 2008. I've always thought that Alex Jones was a crazy man, and he was always a crazy man who was occasionally a stop clock, giving the right time twice a day. I mean, against the Bush-Cheney wars, the surveillance state, all this stuff that was going on at the time. And actually, some of this stuff overlapped. And actually, I knew many people. Well, not many people. I knew quite a few people who were Young Turks fans who were also InfoWars fans, as hard as it is to believe. I knew people who were InfoWars / TYT fans, believe it or not. So, I mean, I know that sounds as crazy as it can be, but they did exist at one time. That was 2007, 2008. Maybe you could stretch it as far as 2009. And if you want to go stretch as far as Occupy Wall Street around 2011, 2012, I think it was, you might still have found a few around. But suffice to say, that was a different time. It was a different time. And, I think it was around 2012, 2013 or something like that when Kyle Kulinski went from being independent to being an affiliate of the Young Turks. And that was a different time period. And all I have to say is that why play video of Cenk Uygur walking down memory lane after the way Cenk and Anna treated you last summer? Dore treated you last summer. I'm more mad at everybody involved between TYT, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kulinski. I'm the most mad at the Young Turks, although I'm not mad at them anymore. But I would say of everybody that was involved there, they were the most at fault. With the attacks on Aaron Matei back in, last June. I guess it was last June. And because, any disagreements that may have with the gray zone people, what have you, what they were reporting on in Syria was correct. And the Young Turks' take on it kind of matches more with the Washington consensus. And Washington consensus is what's wrong in places like Syria. And, some people will say, oh, I'm just being an Assad apologist or what have you. Well, I'm not, but I can attest that anything that will replace Assad in today's Syria is going to be phenomenally worse than what's existing under Assad right now. Make no apologies about that. So if that puts me in the company of gray zone people, what have you, I guess put me there if you want to. I mean, I don't consider myself that, but anyway, suffice to say, this is where all that shit happened last summer, and all that happened with all that drama that went back and forth. Kyle Kulinski ended up out of a job with TYT. I don't know what the arrangements are as far as being an affiliate of the TYT. Is your program's affiliated? You were independent and you end up becoming a member of TYT. Do you get a salary? Do you get benefits from them, like medical, dental? I don't know what arrangement they have. These programs being an affiliate, whether it's Secular Talk that's no longer with them, or the Jimmy Dore Show, which is no longer with them, or whether it's David Pakman or Majority Report, which are both no longer with them, or whether it's current programs like the Humanist Report, or I think they're actually on nationals with them currently, programs like that, or Ring of Fire, or some of these programs that are actually affiliated with them. I mean, what are the arrangements? I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe I don't much care, other than the fact that, what happens to you after you're no longer affiliated. But here's the thing, and maybe my talking about it doesn't help the situation, but my advice to Kyle, because he brings it up every now and then. I hear him talk about it on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends, and Breaking Points, when the discussion talk about Shank and Anna and Jimmy Dore, like he lost all his friends. It's like, that's all the friends you have in the world, and the way they treated you, they're not your true friends. That's the way they treated you. And damn, I mean, that's a pretty sad life. They were the only friends you've ever had. Please move on. You look silly. You look pathetic, doing that, and that's not going to help with your subscription count. It's dwindled in the last several months. You were on your way last year to getting 1 million subscribers, and this bullshit drama that happened last summer, where, as I said, TYT are the most at fault. That was the beginning of your decline as far as your subscription. Now, you're not washed up. You're not washed up at all. I would love to have 971,000 subscribers. I would love to have 71,000 subscribers. I would love to have 900 subscribers, to tell you the truth. But the point I'm trying to make is that my advice to Kyle Kulinski is, it's time to move on past TYT. I mean, really. I mean, they're kind of corrupt. I mean, some of the affiliates, they do good work. TYT itself can provide good commentary every now and then and all of that, but when it comes right down to it, they're control opposition, especially with the Jeffrey Katzenberg money that poured in several years ago. And honestly, you're better off on your own. Just like the guys said over there, Hardlands Media last summer, I don't know if that's still their position, that now there seems to be 3 online left camps these days: the TYT left, the Kyle Kulinski crystal ball left, and the Jimmy Dore left camp. And that's a pretty good position to be in. And you don't need TYT. You really don't. Honestly, I'm not saying make them your enemy. I'm definitely not saying that, but come on, just move on past TYT. Move on past Jimmy Dore. Just move on past that. You look pathetic doing that. I'm sorry to say that. You look really pathetic doing that. And it's unfortunately showing up in your material too. You sound kind of dry these days, and and this is coming from somebody who, I have this channel here. This channel I have is because I was watching Secular Talk all these years. So I was like, a social democratic voice saying social democratic things from a social democratic perspective. Damn, let me do this. I mean, Kyle, you were kind of an influence on me doing this. And, suffice to say, now, the 2016, 2015, 2016, Kyle, 2014, 2013, Kyle, that Kyle, still that's good material. But, now you get a bad rap for defending the squad too much. I've seen you criticize AOC pretty harshly, not to the level of Jimmy Dore and some of those folks, but you criticize them pretty harshly at times. And actually, I do think you don't get enough credit for criticizing them the way you need to. I mean, However, having that said, I do think you need to criticize them more than you do, but you criticize them more than some critics claim you do. But at the same time, you need to kind of move away from looking at the Democratic Party as the final way to get things done, because it's a dead end. I mean, I'm not saying 100% abandon the Democratic Party. Today's primary day, May the 17th. It looks like in Pennsylvania, one must cheerlead the Democrats. It looks like John Fetterman is going to get the nomination for the U.S. Senate, and I hope he wins. And I hope he wins, and I hope he be a troublemaker in the U.S. Senate. There needs to be some troublemakers in there. Certainly, Bernie Sanders have gotten a little humbled over the years. So if somebody can be a troublemaker on Bernie's behalf, even though Bernie's policies is first rate, his posture or his stridency has diminished over the years. Hopefully, someone like John Fetterman. I can hope. So. Anyhow, but I still think ultimately independent politics is going to be the way out. It's impossible as it seems, because honestly, this Democratic Party, Republican Party bullshit can't last forever. It just can't possibly last forever, in spite of all odds, in spite of how much of a grip that the two-party system has over this country. It just can't possibly last forever. Something's got to give. Something's got to make it crumble at some point. And I would like to see it crumble at some point. And I like to think in some ways it almost borders it at times. So anyway, y'all heard me jibber jabber enough. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to also subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell. And until next time, remember, we have a class struggle to wage, because there's no war like the class war. And we have basically to oppose all wars, because, as I said, no war like the class war. And we have to do what we can to protect that First Amendment. That means freedom of expression. And that means protecting freedom of the press, which means that we're all Julian Assange. And this is where I conclude. And I will tell you all music. So we'll get started.